Hi everybody. We are going to review factoring and graphing using synthetic division. So the goal is to graph this polynomial here, and unfortunately we can't factor by grouping, we can't take out a common factor, so now we have to use the method of synthetic division in order to factor this so that we can find the x-intercepts and then graph. So to set up synthetic division, we put that little box in the corner. Then we start with the variable to the highest power and write that first, and then go down the line until you get to the constant, so x cubed, x squared, x constant. And then underneath these you're going to put the coefficients of each term. So 1, -4, 1, and 6. Then you're going to leave a space and draw a line. So now we've set up the problem, and we have to figure out possible numbers that we can put in this box. So we're going to look at the last term, and we're going to write down all the factors or numbers that multiply to 6. So positive and -1, positive and -2, positive and -3, and positive and -6. Remember, we always try positive 1 first. So we put that in the corner. And the first step is always to bring that first number down and then multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. Then you're going to add -4 plus 1, which is -3. And then you're going to multiply 1 times -3, which is -3. And you're going to add down. 1 plus -3 is -2. Multiply 1 times -2 is -2. Add 6 times -2, and remember we want a 0 here. If we don't get a 0, that means this does not work. So 1 is not one of the roots. So we have to try again, putting a different number in the box. So let's try -1. Alright, so again the first one comes down, and then you multiply -1 times 1, which is -1. Then you add -4 plus -1 is -5. Multiply -1 times -5 is 5. And then add 1 plus 5 is 6. Multiply -1 times 6 is -6. And we get 0. So that means -1 is one of the x-intercepts on our graph, which would go with the factor x plus 1. So one of our factors is x plus 1. Now we're going to write this out starting from left to right, and we're going to start at 1 degree less than the original problem. So we started with x cubed, so this will be the coefficient of the x squared. This will be for x, so minus 5x plus 6. Now that we have a quadratic, we can just factor this like we normally would. And we want to multiply to get to 6 and add to get to -5. So x minus 2, x minus 3. So we have these two factors plus the x plus 1 factor. So we have y equals x plus 1 times x minus 2 times x minus 3. And over here I've given a little bit of information that they're going to be 3 normal roots, so no bounces. We're just going to cross through at 3 different x values. And so our equation makes sense. The x-intercepts are -1, 2, and 3. And this is a positive odd, so the end behavior will look like this. So the x-intercepts, again, -1, 2, and 3. We're going to start down and we're going to end up. And we're just drawing a rough sketch of the graph. Okay. We're going to do one more. This one, there will be 1 bounce and 1 normal. So we're going to set up the problem. X cubed, x squared, x constant. And the coefficients are 1, 3. There's no x term, so that's 0. And then the constant is -4. So make sure if one of your variables doesn't show up, you put a 0 for the constant. Now to figure out what numbers to try here, we're going to look at the factors of -4. So positive and -1, positive and -2, and positive and -4. Always try one first. First step is bring the first number down. Multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. And then add. 3 times 1 is 4. Multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Add. 0 plus 4 is 4. Multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Add. -4 plus 4 is 0. Since we get a 0, that means this 1 is one of the x-intercepts. And a factor that would give us 1 as an x-intercept is x minus 1. So one of our factors is x minus 1. Then we're going to rewrite this starting with 1 power less than the original problem. So this is the coefficient for x squared. This is the coefficient for x, so plus 4x, and then the constant, plus 4. Again, this is a quadratic, so we can just factor this. X plus 2, x plus 2. So we have x plus 2, and this x minus 1. So we'll write those all out. And then remember, if you have a factor that shows up twice, you can rewrite that as that one factor squared. And remember, we should have one bounce and one normal. So we have one bounce and one normal. The x-intercepts are 1 and -2, and the bounce will be at -2. Alright. Now this is a positive odd degree because it's 1, 2, 3. So we're going to start down here, we're going to end up here, and we're going to bounce at -2. And there's your graph.